I'm expecting X to nerd a yodel after a week in the Austrian Alps. Come on. I can't even think of how to yodel right now. Like the sound of it. I know it's yodel like that, isn't it? There you go. It's coming back to me. Yodel I don't know. It's something like that. Dang, it's been a long time since I've heard someone yodel. Yodel, is that a new type of Wordle? Yeah, it's like Wordle mixed with YOLO. You only live once, right? Yodel. You only get to do this Wordle once. Speaking of YOLO, I had a couple of YOLO moments out on the slopes. Went down some blacks. I'm pretty sure I've been down a couple of blacks in the past, but the ones that I went down this time were definitely the steepest. I guess it's time for holiday talk. What is a black slope, says Grill Cheesy. A black slope is the steepest of slopes. So you have green for beginners, which are very gentle. Blues are, also sort of for beginners, but a little steeper, as you would imagine. When you get to a sort of intermediate stage, you have the reds, and then you have blacks, which are, there's a variety of steepnesses. So I'm not going to say they're for experts. Like in some areas, you have like double black and double black diamond. Those are for experts. I kind of went down a black that an intermediate could handle, and I'm a self-taught skier essentially. So I had lessons when I was a kid, and when I started skiing again 5 years ago, I just kind of did it off of memory, and my technique and stuff is probably pretty pants, but I can get down the slopes competently. And I crashed a couple of times. First day there, I thought I'd crash on the first day. Nope, did pretty good. Mostly stuck to blues. Did some reds later in the day. And then on the second day, it was this. We went to this place called Ishgau, right? And I swear not. On the first day, I saw someone who's a splitting image of Ishgau, right? A Swedish Viking just up there on the slopes. And I had to take twice. I was like, that guy looks like Ishgau, but Ishgau's not on a skiing vacation. Ishgau and Ishgau. This place was, compared to previous places that I've been to, I would say aesthetically, the mountains are always beautiful, but the slopes, the parts you can ski down, not quite as interesting as I remember other places being. And I think it's because it's quite like open. It's a high up resort, so you have like just not a lot of trees basically. And when I thought of some of the skiing routes that I remembered previously, one of the big things were like tree lines and like skiing through the woods. And then this one place that had a frozen waterfall and like a frozen lake that you would ski around on this like gentle long slope. It had this one route, I think it was 80, red 80, that goes through a valley, and it goes all the way down into this Swiss town. And when you get to the Swiss town, there's like a mile long, very gentle slope that you end up walking across, and it takes you all the way down to the gondola. It's pretty amusing actually. Like the first time, the ski route was absolutely amazing to go through, and the second time it was all a bit chopped up, the snow, and that kind of meant that like the skiing was tougher and you had to focus a bit more on it, and you could enjoy the landscape a little less. It was a beautiful skiing vacation, and I had lots of food, and I lost a lot of weight. I can barely believe it. I lost 2 kilograms. So I went from like calorie counting all the time to then intuitively eating, as I call it. And every day they served like eggs and sausages and cheese. I ate so much meat. Austrian food, I have learned, is mostly meat and potatoes. So I'd have a big breakfast, then out on the slopes we'd get a meal. And then dinner in the evening was amazing. They had a salad bar, so you could just help yourself to tons of salad, which I did. And then I had a 4-course set meal, which is something I don't normally have. So every day it was like a surprise as to what you're going to eat. It was like the chef was a bit more on the fancy side with the cooking. I had so much interesting food to eat. On the first day, I ate a baby octopus. Okay, it looked like a baby octopus, and it was cooked, and it was salty and rubbery, and I ate one, and I thought, never again. Never again. The first meal that we had, though, like they served us lasagna, and the lasagna was a really small portion. I thought, uh-oh, this is not enough food for me to be consuming. But anyway, as the week went on, every day there was like appetizers, a soup, a main meal, and a dessert. And I really like dessert when it's in a small portion. It was just a very small portion of dessert, and it was something different every time. And the portions got bigger too, so that was good. But while I was out there, I had schnitzel, which was cool. I had Gordon Bleu, which is probably one of my favorites. I had a currywurst sausage, which is just a sausage with this curry sauce, and then another type of sausage, a more spicy one. I had it with an alternative to just fries, because a lot of stuff gets served with fries over there. And this was, let me think. It was like potatoes, sort of cooked up a little raw. I don't know how to describe it really, but like cooked with onions and stuff. Don't know how you describe that kind of dish, but I liked it. I also had one with potato salad. We went to a restaurant one night and had gnocchi dish. I had so much good food, and I can't believe how much weight I lost. So I was using my Fitbit every day, and it was telling me like 3,500 calories or something like that a day. I think it was way more. I think even though like it's monitoring my heart rate and giving me an estimation, I reckon the activity just really like took a number on my body, because every day my legs were like shattered. Oh, and in the place we stayed at, they had a sauna. Right, and I haven't been to a sauna since I was a kid. When I saw they had one, I was like, I am taking this opportunity and I am going in the sauna. And pretty much every day, I would sit in the sauna for at least 15 minutes. And they had a wet room sauna as well. And dang, immediately it felt so good for my body and all of my muscles. Like I'd also, been working out consistently for a long time, and something like a hot bath. I don't have a bath in my house. If I have the opportunity to have a hot bath, that makes like a good difference to the muscles. So I really felt the whole body loosen up after going into this sauna, and it was like a little bit of therapy. So yeah, going back to the skiing stuff, like everything went really smooth. There was, no problems. The ski lifts there are impressive. Now, I don't know if we went at a time maybe influenced a little bit by COVID and traveling at the moment, but like there was not queues to get on the ski lifts, and whenever there was, it was like literally no more than a couple of minutes. And the ski lifts there are known for being really fast. So I feel like the skiing trip was pretty intense compared to other ones that I've been on, because we were just constantly up and down, and then only stopping once a day to have like a little break. What was it I had? Gurkenoodle. So my dad, who I go skiing with, has a sweet tooth and loves pudding, and I don't really like pudding. I mean, it sounds weird to say that, right? But I've gone from eating pudding, who wouldn't want to eat some pudding, right? Whatever it is, it's a treat. And then being conscious of like what it's doing to your body, having all that sugar, trying to enjoy whole foods and less sugary stuff more. And then, being able to feel the effects of what that's doing to your body, like quite sensitively now. If I have something really sugary, it kind of messes with me a bit. So I had this Gurkenoodle, and, I had a few bites and it was all right. And as soon as I started to have like my fourth, fifth bite or whatever, it's just too much, too sugary. It's kind of really stodgy pudding thing. A tiny little Gurkenoodle would have been awesome. This was like a bowl belly filling portion of Gurkenoodle. So I didn't have any other pudding. I was very tempted to have some apple strudel. I remember having something similar to that, like a mincemeat apple strudel in Rome that was just unbelievable. But I didn't. I just, stuck to eating salads and the various meals. Wanted to try something different every time. I had goulash on my last day there, which was cool. Yeah, so the vacation was great. The first day was quite cold, but clear skies. The weather forecast was always a bit worse than it actually ended up being. So the first day was like cold but clear skies. The second day was a little bit warmer. I got my layers right every day, and I had like one day where I got sweaty, and that was it. There was this one day where it got kind of like cloudy early on, and then it got completely overcast. And I find skiing, the two things that make skiing really difficult for me are visibility and how chopped up the slopes are. So when you go out first thing in the morning and there's like a fresh layer of snow, or like the piste has been freshly bashed, I love that. Just like whizzing around on the skis, having a great time, blazing down the slopes. Did plenty of like really fast skiing when it was appropriate. And then it gets chopped up the further the day gets on, and it gets harder and harder to ski on the chopped up snow. It can be really taxing. On the last day, my legs were shattered, and like going down some of these slopes were just, so difficult. Like absolutely wearing me out. I loved it nonetheless. But yeah, on this one day where it got like quite cloudy, the visibility went like really poor, to the point where we were going down blues, and my dad's a much better skier than me. I was really struggling to see like the snow. You need to see the snow not as just a color, but you need to see where all the details of the snow are. So you can see little piles of it, you can see the texture of it, so if you know if there's ice or if it's like soft snow. And this is all stuff that you just learn to read the landscape for experience. So when the visibility goes low, when the clouds come out, there's not enough light diffusion, and so all of the snow tends to look flat. And it was disorienting to the point where I was going down like a gentle blue and I just couldn't get my bearings. I was, struggling at every point because you couldn't anticipate the kind of vibrations that would kind of go through your leg and the forces from the snow and like anticipate and respond to that. You were just kind of constantly at the mercy of what felt like, sort of random feedback. And it was really disorienting. You look off into the distance and you can't really tell the angle of the slope downwards. And so I really struggled with that. It was, really tricky. And then as the day went on, right, the snow comes down heavier and heavier to the point where at the end of the day, we've taken the easiest slope we can find that's got a ski lift going up to it. A piste basher had actually rolled out and gone down it again. So, like, it was pretty good quality snow. We're just going down this one slope over and over again, and you have to stop every 30 seconds to, like, wipe your visor so you can see again, because it was getting covered in snow. That was the only day that we went in a little bit early. Went in 15 minutes early. It was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Let's just go back. I had so little distraction going on. There was nothing happening on my phone because I didn't have data during the day, which I could have enabled, but I just couldn't be bothered to sort it all out. When I come home again, I'm just reminded of like how much option and distraction there is. Like on the plane, I was trying to look for something to watch. I couldn't make up my mind. It's like decision paralysis or like choice overload, something like that. And for me, it's like I just keep noticing these moments of distraction and unease around content consumption. It's a bit of a weird phenomena, being overloaded with choice and whatnot, and having this time to just do nothing but basically ski, and then like in the evening maybe watch a little bit of YouTube, but mostly just doing other stuff. Like the pace was so slow and easy, and the mind was so undistracted, and it felt great. And I just want to kind of like capture a bit of that and bring it into my routine. I'm just very aware though that my routine is going to quickly fall into being busy, busy, busy. And I've got all these commitments and things that I do and that I don't want to give up on. Yeah, so the visibility thing, right? Like you can have different types of visors with different visibility, and I got orange ones, which are supposed to be pretty good for seeing, but they can only go so far. And so, yeah, I had these days where just the visibility was rather poor, and it was disorienting to kind of be in that environment. But, got through it, and then the next day the weather was better, and all in all, we got like a lot of sunlight, a lot of good weather, really. Some clouds came over here and there, and on the last day, I remember we were going down this choppy red that was awful, probably one of the worst slopes after it had been chopped up all day. And as soon as the light came out, all of a sudden my skiing just got better because then I could see again. Then I could see where it was all going, and I could get a handle on how to go down the slope. I also did a speed test. Yeah, there was this gate thing that you could push yourself down, and then like I don't know, like some sort of measurement tool to see how fast you're going. Right? Can y'all guess how fast I went on my skis? I had second-hand old skis, by the way. So we got an 80 kilometers an hour, a 50, a 40, 45, 5 miles per hour. Well, y'all guessing in kilometers are on the first bit because yes, the speed can be measured in miles or kilometers, but all I got is that kilometer number for you. I ain't got any other number. All right, no one guessed it that I saw. It was 65, I think, if I remember correctly. 65 kilometers per hour. And I don't think I went any faster elsewhere, but I definitely caned it down a couple of slopes. There were some reds where like it would really kind of open up to more of a blue steepness, but because the slope is classified as a red, it means a lot of faster skiers go down it. So once you get past the steep bits, which are actually reds, then you have like these big expansive bits that are more like blues, but people cane it down it. And I was doing that too. I was, getting some Need for Speed. Had Judas Priest's Free Will Burning stuck in my head. God, what a great band. So I had that stuck in my head while I'm blazing down these slopes at top speed. If I'm making it sound like, a bit over the top, sometimes I went pretty darn fast, and I'm always like quite curious as to how close to like that chaos you actually are. Like that's what's weird about skiing for me, is that I feel like I'm quite close to, a calamity, but yet you don't. And it comes with experience. Like last time I skied, I probably crashed a fair few more times than this one. I didn't crash on the first day, which I was really pleased about. On the second day, did I tell this story already today? I feel like I might have done. But we're going down a red slope that's further down the hills, so the snow starts to get a bit melty and slushy, which was kind of disappointing. We ended up staying like up top where it's high for the better snow a lot of the time. So anyway, down lower, the snow gets a bit slushy. There's a split in the path, and I picked the side that's a bit narrower, that's got trees around it, because I love skiing through the trees. And then all of a sudden, the snow sort of turns yellow, and it's a bit rough and annoying and sticky. And then, I don't know what happened. It happens in the blink of an eye. But I wasn't going fast. I was just kind of, noodling along, perhaps getting a little bit bored and distracted because, the snow was sticky and whatnot. And I just went face first, like over my skis. I was straight into the snow. I was like, oh God, I was all right. Yeah, yellow snow, not that yellow snow, like snow that's mixed with the dirt that's beneath it. It goes yellowy. All right. Dirty minds. God. Where to go from there then? I had a couple more stacks. That was the worst one. The others were pretty tame, actually. I think I stacked it like a couple of times on a blue in a choppy snow, and I had one stack which I can't remember if it was on the black or it was on the red, but like there were quite a few times where like something catches your ski. That's mostly it. Like you do your turns, you get your technique right, you try and lean forwards, and there's all these things you're thinking about. But it's like how you bump across the snow, right, and how you respond to it. And sometimes your skis tend to like catch something and get stuck in it, and that's what tends to cause it. And I did this one turn where something really bumped my ski, and I was really like out of control, about to fall over. And for somehow I made a fist with my hand, and I bumped up and down off of my fist on the side, like facing the slope that's like behind me that I've come down. I just bounced along for ages, like 4 or 5 times on my fist, and then managed to get back up on my skis, which I think is probably a sign of just being more adept and comfortable with the skiing. But there are a lot of times where you catch something and then you wobble and you manage to get control again. And I feel like, hey, in the past, I probably would have like stacked it there. So I kind of get this feeling like, yeah, I'm definitely getting to be a better skier. So that's good. But I'm always quite... I'm not a sort of confident skier. I'm a cautious skier first, and then when things are going well and the slope feels right, I might speed up a little bit. I'm not gonna like go off the rails and do anything crazy with my skiing. That's not my style. So yeah, had a few moments here and there, and then I had this one moment where we're going down a blue and it starts to level out before you get to the ski lifts. So pretty much every ski lift will have like this leveling out area before it, and if there's several ski lifts, you'll find they'll just be like these long flats of snow where everyone kind of like finishes their way down the mountain and then whizzes towards which ski lift they want to go to. And sometimes, most of the time, people tend to ski through those areas pretty darn fast because it's easy to go fast over the flat areas, and the snow had gone all kinds of slushy, right? It was not good snow. And I was going pretty fast down it, doing my left, right technique. So, well, you kind of, like, when you go straight, you can just think of your legs being straight and moving forward. And that's probably not the best way to do it because your skis can catch snow and then one of your legs is going to go off to the side. So one thing you can do is you can put your knees more together and then make more of a pizza shape with your skis. Or you can parallel ski, which is where you kind of shift your skis from tilting to the left and then jumping over and tilting to the right. It's kind of hard to describe if you've never skied. But you're essentially sort of going in a straight line, but your legs are like shifting to the left, then to the right. Left, right, left, right. So I'm doing that, right? Boom, 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 making my way down. And then all of a sudden, one of my skis catches. And normally when you ski like that, it's a pretty good technique for resisting it getting caught because you're sort of digging your skis in against the snow. You got all your leg all your weight on one particular leg, and it kind of takes all of that force. And for whatever reason, that didn't work. So I caught a little bit of snow, and my leg went high up in the air. I'm talking like above my other knee. I couldn't believe how much it set my ski up into the air. And I'm like wobbling on one ski now, trying to get it back down because I'm going to fall over the other way, which means it's going to go above my head. And I'm also heading towards another person. And I don't know how I got it under control. All this stuff always happens in the blink of an eye. But I managed to get my ski down and turn before I hit this other person. It was just a very fast, chaotic, hairy moment where my ski was potentially going to go over my own head. It was just crazy. But I loved it. It was so much fun. I felt like I didn't really experience like much Austrian culture because it was mostly just skiing and hotels, right, in a very touristy traction sort of place. But the mountains are absolutely gorgeous. One of the most beautiful things about skiing is not just the activity, it's the location. And there is something amazing about skiing with mountains because the mountains move when you ski, right? So you can tend to think of mountains being like static things, like you see pictures of them, right? When you move through the mountains, down the valleys on your skis, the shape of the sheer size of them, the shape, the angles you can look at them, they're always slowly shifting and moving around you as you whiz down the slope. And it's really beautiful. When you get those moments to kind of just like look up and not have to worry, the snow's good, the terrain is relatively flat or gentle, and you just take it all in. It's so beautiful. And like if you're someone that finds Mother Nature's beauty to be very peaceful and whatnot, it's a very graceful kind of, what would be the right word to use here? Humbling, maybe, because as beautiful as it is, it's also absolutely deadly. I kind of look at the train and thinking, oh, isn't it so great? And I'm like, if all of the ski stuff and all the people just disappeared and you're just sitting here, out in this snowy area, this snowy wilderness, you're stuffed. I ain't surviving the night. Like, it's beautiful, but it's deadly. And I find that really humbling. That we have all this incredible technology to take us up into the slopes and experience just what such a small fraction of people ever get to experience, right? The things we experience today, think of all the generations of humanity that have suffered before us and experienced life in different ways. And here we are with just some incredible opportunities, like being able to be flown by a plane up into some mountains and whiz down the deadly snow on skis in comfort and stop off and have something to eat on a restaurant. It's remarkable. This happens every ski trip I go on, but I end up on YouTube after looking up videos on like skiing resorts and how ski lifts work and just being fascinated by all the various mechanics of it. And I found a really great video by this YouTuber who's like super passionate about ski lifts and like explaining all of the mechanics. And like it was really cool to know how all the stuff works. So I've had like a total geek out on the skiing as a result. Favorite skiing moment from Ender Snow? Probably going to be Route 80, the red route, going through the valley. Because as I said, like this skiing resort is high up. There's not a lot of trees. A lot of it can feel a little less scenic and adventurous compared to some other places that I've skied. Even though it was all beautiful and fantastic, of course. So that moment where we got to go through a big valley, the snow was great, the weather was just right that day. Kind of whizzed it down. Wish I'd have maybe taken my time a little bit more. That was one favorite. I'd say another one would be blazing it down this red slope that I described earlier, where it kind of like flattens out to more of a blue, but everyone like goes really fast on it. I had some really crazy runs down there where like you're bouncing and wobbling like crazy. You're going really fast. Probably over 50 kilometers an hour. Yeah, I didn't do any jumps. We kind of went through the fun park bits, but I'm not really into that. Didn't do any jumps. I did speed test twice. First time was a little less confident. Would have been nice to have gotten back around to that again, actually, because I did both of those on the first day. So I would have been more confident and got maybe a bit of a faster speed out of that later on. That's kind of it, really. The food, a lot of the food, having a rest and something to eat was pretty cool. The other thing, there's one other thing comes to mind. I didn't take my GoPro. I didn't want to like be hassled by it, right? Because I felt like if I had the GoPro, I'd be thinking about making videos for YouTube. And I realized when I was there that, one, you don't have to take it out with you every day. You don't have to use it all day. You can use it whenever you want. And I probably would have pulled it out for that Route 70 and recorded that. I kind of regret not doing that. So I'm going to take the GoPro on the next one and make the effort to just record a few of them for my own sake. Like I've got some video on my hard drive where it's some trips that I went on before. And every now and then I'll fire it back up and watch the video and be like, oh yeah, I remember that route. That was great. And enjoy the scenery again. I've got a really good video of the one with the frozen waterfall and the frozen lake that you make your way around. And like just having that stuff to occasionally have a look at is awesome, you know. And I guess I had like the wrong idea about what to do on that front. Hey X, welcome back. Hope you had a great time. That pic you posted was beautiful. Have a great day. Thank you, thank you. I am no photographer. That is the power of smartphones. I just like I stick out the camera and I go tap 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 tap, and then when I get back, I try and pick the best one of all the little taps. Yeah, I wish I'd have taken more pictures as well. I think the next trip I'm going to go on, I might even write a journal while I'm there. That would have been a great time to write a journal with the downtime, because I then started to like think back over the different meals that I had as the days went on, and you'd start to forget some. I kind of wanted to remember it all because like there were so many cool experiences, and writing it down can help you with that. But I had like this weird squid thing. I can't tell if it was a mushroom or a squid, but man, it looked awful, but I ate it anyway, and it was pretty salty and interesting. I had so much fun eating the food there. Had loads of interesting desserts. I had Philadelphia fudge cake on the last day, and dang, that was nice. That was some good food. And, you know, there were other things too, and I just can't quite remember them now. If I had a little journal, I'd go look it up.